This video is the first in a series in which I'll forge and finish a tanto, or samurai dagger. In this video, I'll take a bar of steel, cut it, forge the bar stock to size, and then forge that out into a tsunobe, or preform. I'll give all the numbers and dimensions as I go, so that anyone who's interested can use this series as a tutorial and follow along at home. Several subscribers have commented that they'd like to begin bladesmithing, and I've planned this series with them in mind. If you'd like to learn to forge something like a katana, you really should start with tantos and forge several of them before moving on to larger blades. I didn't do this when I started out, and I really wish I had. Trust me, start with a few tantos before moving on. I start with a bar of custom W2 steel that's approximately 12 inches by 1.5 inches by 5/16 inch. Links to where you can buy an identical steel bar in the description. I begin by cutting the bar into a 3-inch piece and a 9-inch piece, and from here on out I'm going to express the dimensions in millimeters because the math is easier in metric. Next I'm going to carefully forge the larger of the two pieces so that it's 29 millimeters wide and 9 millimeters thick, and I measure with calipers as I go to make sure I get it right. And here's the forged bar stock. The forging process has caused it to stretch out by about 25 millimeters, so its current dimensions are 9 millimeters by 29 millimeters by 254 millimeters. Now I take a little break from forging to mark the segments that will become the different parts of the tsunobe. Using my intuitive sense of proportion, I draw a line dividing the bar into the part that will become the tang and the part that will become the blade. Upon measuring, I discover that the tang part is 67 millimeters and the blade part is 187 millimeters. Now I do the math to figure out the various segments of the tsunobe. For those who are interested in how that's done, I have a whole video on that topic that I'll link in the description. I won't go through all the math here. For now, I'll just supply the numbers. I also mark those measurements with notches that I cut, using a cutoff wheel on an angle grinder. I'll ultimately position those notches on the cutting edge of the blade when I forge it out, and they'll open up, flatten out, and completely disappear as I forge the blade. I forged the first segment so that it's 27 millimeters wide and 7 millimeters thick. I forge the next segment so that it's 28 millimeters wide and 8 millimeters thick, 1 millimeter wider and thicker than the first segment. Then I forged the point end into a sort of bilaterally symmetrical triangle. Then I flip the bar around and forge out the tang end. And I finish the tsunobe by blending the segments all together and giving them a gradual taper from hilt to point. And this is the finished tsunobe. In my next video, I'll forge the tsunobe into a blade and profile the blade in preparation for heat treatment. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to make a tanto of your own, or if you'd just like to support this channel, please consider purchasing some of my custom W2 knife making steel. Links in the description.